Sup nerds, I'm Gerald with Mushbrains, and today we're going to be taking a look at what the next generation consoles need to offer to be successful. First off, we're going to take a look at Sony. They are the market leader this generation, so they are in a very tough spot. Generally speaking, we have seen whenever someone goes into a new generation as the leader, they have a tendency to fumble the ball a bit. So what they need to do is stay on course while also making sure to open their borders to other gamers to make it an inviting place and they don't get lost in the shuffle. One big point going into the PlayStation 5 that they've already mentioned they will be doing is backwards compatibility. We haven't heard a lot of information about it, so it's right now assumed that it may only be PlayStation 4. However, if they can do backwards compatibility from the PlayStation 1 through to the 4, that would be a huge boon to them, allowing them to claim that gamers can have an entire library for their new console before it's even launched. Now, Sony rose to prominence this generation due to their first-party titles. Games like Spider-Man, God of War, Astro Bot Rescue Mission gave them the success that they have. So they need to keep focusing on these first-party titles just to make sure people can say, hey, that's where I'm going to get the best games. Now, one place where PlayStation really needs to focus is going to be on services. I'm looking specifically at you, PlayStation Now. As a subscriber since it launched, I still think the service is shit. With PlayStation Now, if they give us the ability to download titles from PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 4 for the nominal fee, maybe not $20, bring that down a little bit, make it more in line with the Xbox Game Pass, then you could see a lot of people looking at it as an instant library, yet again. And the last thing that Sony really needs to work on is going to be with their VR, since it is the only place that you can play virtual reality on a home game console currently. They need to steer more into that. Give us that killer app that's going to make VR a must for every household. It's already known that they are currently working on a second iteration of the VR headset, even though they have said that the PSVR that we know now will be backwards compatible to the PlayStation 5. The next iteration, however, needs to be killer. So, with an advancement in tech, they need to make sure that it's on par with things such as the Rift, the Vive, or whatever the next big headset might be. Make sure that you have the best VR experience on the market, plus the cheapest way to play it without having to get a major gaming rig. Now honestly, I like what you did with the PlayStation Move, being able to bring forth a failed, gimmicky controller from the PlayStation 3 era. However, it's time to move beyond it. If you look at something like the Oculus Touch controllers, those are the best damn controllers on the market now. Take a page from their book and make something accordingly. Next up, let's take a look at Microsoft, who's coming into the next generation lagging behind the Sony PlayStation 4 in sales. For Microsoft to make up any real ground going into this next generation, they're going to need to focus on their first-party titles. Now, we've already seen that they have been buying up studios in a way to bolster their library. However, this remains to be seen what it will do for them going forward. Now, one thing that they really knocked out of the park with this last generation has been their services. Both Xbox Live and the Game Pass have been a smashing success. They really need to build on that going forward so that people can see the value in what they get when they join the Microsoft ecosystem. One thing that would really work to their advantage is by cutting the current consoles to a price where it brings people into that ecosystem just because they see the value. Once they're locked into Games Pass or Xbox Live for a year, they can think to themselves, hey, now I've got a ton of games I can play once the system launches, and they'll be more likely to go out and buy an Xbox 2 or whatever they decide to call it. That ecosystem only really works to their advantage if they have strong backwards compatibility. Now, we saw that they were the first to have backwards compatibility this previous console generation, but they did it in a way where you had to patch in the ability to play these games. So if they make the entire back catalogs of both the Xbox and the Xbox 360 available, then that would really work to their advantage. And lastly, for Microsoft, they need to make sure that they do not make the same mistakes they did with the launch of the Xbox One. So don't give me any of this center of your living room trash where you gotta make it so that it's the streaming box and all this stuff. My TV does that already. And please, for the love of God, don't bundle any trash peripherals and tell me that they're necessary. Now, one thing I wanted to touch on, it's not technically a console, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Google's Stadia platform. For this to be a success, they need to make sure that this is something people can buy into with confidence. So tell me what I can do with my games if you decide to throw this service away. And not only do I need to know that I own these games, but you need to give me a ton of games worth owning. And one of the best ways to do that is, of course, dealing with every third-party publisher that's putting out games today and making sure they know the benefits of being on your platform. But if you truly want to win over the public, Steam integration. Now, this was hinted at on the AMA that they did on our Stadia over on Reddit. However, give us more information about that, make it a reality, and everyone will be clamoring to go out and buy one. And lastly, Nintendo. Now, you have nothing on the horizon as far as next generation hardware, and that's okay, you just released the Switch and everybody still loves it. However, once everything starts coming out, it will quickly be seen how dated the Switch is compared to everything else. Now, rumors have been floating around that you've got a Switch Pro that you're wanting to roll out. We need to hear about that, and we need to hear about that soon, otherwise you will get left in the dust come 2020. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments down below. Also, we are a new channel, so if you have any topics you'd like to see us discuss, bring that down below as well. We do have a podcast, Mushbrains, the podcast. Check us out, and also make sure to like, subscribe, share, and follow us on social media. You can find those links below as well. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time.